This is how we are starting this morning, early birds, a little bit late. Yeah, you know what? All I'm saying is we're outside. And I'm so happy we're outside, even though I feel like I look really tired. But when I looked in the mirror this morning, I didn't. And I washed my face. Did you wash your face? Did you brush your teeth this morning? I hope so. Before we got on, you're like, we didn't even know you were getting on. We're starting to do that right now. That's okay. What are we going to do today? Well, I thought I would leave it up to you. We have two choices. We can continue on with our phonics, or that's all I see this morning is this. We can continue on with our phonics, or we can read a book. What was that? You want to continue on with our phonics? Are you nuts? No, you're not. But I kind of want to do that too. I was thinking I was going to come out here and we were going to read, and I was going to make it easy for myself, but I decided not to. So we are going to continue with our phonics lesson. So give me a couple seconds to get organized here, because I'm really not organized right now this morning. Let me get a scarf on. Let me, so I don't have to worry about that. Give me a sec. Just give me a sec, if you would. And I don't have the right be right back, because we're on day 66. We're on day 66. I know. That's how unprepared. I went out last night after I taught. I went out and got a bite to eat, and then mingled a little bit, and but I wasn't home late. But I'm a little slow this morning. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why. I really don't know why I'm a little slow, but I am a little slow. I know why. It's because I'm a little bit concerned about the classroom, as you probably know. But let me go get my stuff, and I think that we're going to continue on with our phonics lesson. And you can just enjoy a little bit of beautiful Michigan in the morning at 8 a.m. in the morning and hear all the sounds of Michigan. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience, early birds, letting me get my water and my face and my scarf so that I was a little more modest on the early bird show. Look it up. Look up what that means to be modest. It's a really, really great virtue, personality characteristic. It's a great thing for people to say about you. They don't usually say it about me. But that's a different classroom. So you wanted to know, I heard you say that you wanted to know what book would we be reading if we were reading a book. We would read the story of the Underground Railroad. And the reason why is because I have a lot that I'm talking about in the Bookless classroom about the Civil War. I'm talking a lot about that. And so, and it's because it's really, really important. So that's the reason why I'm talking a lot about it. I've talked many days about it. The history in the Bookless classroom on the Civil War is about, well, the war. But there's so many other things about the Civil War that helped our country and hurt our country and that we are still dealing with today. So there are all kinds of topics from the Civil War that I'm able to talk about in the different classrooms. And so I can't talk about it all in the one, otherwise we'd be forever on the Civil War. We'd never get on to another topic, which is okay because we have forever, right? We have forever. I kind of think we have forever, right? Cross our fingers. I think we have forever. And so we could do that. But I was thinking I'm going to go ahead and still. So this was the book I was going to read. So do you still want to do phonics or do you want to do the story? I know. But how about this? How about if I promise to read this story on Tuesday? Is that okay? Can I read the story on Tuesday? Because remember, we didn't read a story this week. And I said that's because we got behind in our phonics and in our math. And now we're almost all caught up. So I just wanted to catch up on the phonics. Okay? So that's what I think we're going to do today. I think we're going to catch up on the phonics and we will do the Underground Railroad on Tuesday. All right? And you could look up information about the Underground Railroad if you wanted to and sort of be prepared. Maybe you might know more than I do. Although we've been reading about the Underground Railroad because we read it in our other book too. Which was that? What book was that? It was in our reading room, the one I know. How could I forget my books? Oh, Homer P. Figg, The Mostly True Tales of Homer P. Figg. So that talked about the Underground Railroad. Great story. It was a really good story. I'm so happy that I picked out really good stories. Even The Wild Swans. That was just a couple days story that I kind of threw in there that didn't have a message like the Underground Railroad does or something like that, right? And still, it had a really good message in it. It was really, I referred to that story in some of my classrooms as well. So we always do a lot to try and remind you of what we've been learning in the other classrooms, right? All right, so, but we are going to get to phonics. And oh my gosh, you know what? I did grab my purse to bring it down here that had my glasses in, so I did do that, but I don't know if I actually made it down here or not. I think it did. I think it's right there on the counter, so I have to go get that. But let me get a drink. Oh, I can hear my stomach growling. I'm hungry. Are you hungry? You can get some breakfast right now. That would be a good idea. Start your day with breakfast. Don't let anyone tell you that the cereal company was over there starting our breakfast. Maybe they did, but was also research that told us that you need breakfast in order to learn. That when you're hungry, you can't concentrate. And a lot of times when kids are hungry, they're really hungry. When kids are hungry and they can't learn, they're really hungry. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. And I have my glasses. So if you remember yesterday, we were talking about verbs, right? As we've been talking about for a while. And we were talking about complete subjects and complete predicates. See the things I have to put up with? Did you hear the motorheads in the background? Yeah, and then it stops. Yeah. Yeah, all kinds of things. You should have heard. Doesn't matter. Let's get going. So, okay. All right, let's get to our, if you remember, we were looking at, here we did, in all of these worksheets, we were working on complete subjects and complete predicates, right? And we were able to determine when the complete, where to divide them when we found the, here, how about I get my head over here or do something like that? Because that was so hard. I don't want it that way anyway. Let's see here. There, I think that's great. And look at Lucy join me. Here's Lucy right here. She's asleep. But she goes to sleep. And then she wakes up and then she goes to sleep and she wakes up. But she heard me open up the door to go outside, so she wanted to be outside with me. There she is. There's little Lucy. She's tired though. Okay, so we learned about the complete subject and the complete predicate. Why do we care about this? This is the beginnings of understanding. If you could diagram a sentence, I know this is early birds, so I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. To diagram a sentence is to be able to take and, I don't think you can see that. And you can't see it here and you can't see it there. Is to be able to take every part of a sentence and say what it is. And you do that through a picture. And this is the very beginning of diagramming a sentence. The very first thing that you do in diagramming a sentence is you find the verb and you divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Why would you do that? Why do we care about starting to divide and diagramming a sentence? It really is about understanding the English language. And the better that you understand the English language, the better you're able to communicate with other people. And right now, we are really stunted in our ability to communicate with one another. Stunted. There's another word for stunted, and that's actually retarded. When you are stunted in your growth, the way to use that word appropriately would be to say retarded. That is what you retard something. You stunt it. I have to see if you can use that word as a verb. I just did. You can retard something. That is using it as a verb there. I don't know if you can, but I think that you can, because just like stunt your growth, or you are stunted, right? You could use it as a verb to stunt your growth. That's an action, right? That's an action. And you are stunted are is the linking verb to stunted. That's an adjective, isn't it? It links it to an adjective. It describes you, right? Which was the next page of what we were learning here, which was predicate adjectives. We learned a predicate adjective is an adjective that modifies the subject of a sentence. It describes. We really, I really, kids don't know. They have all this kind of, kid pictures for everybody, for all of you, and yet then they use non-kid language like modifies. So we're going to take out that modifies, and we are going to call it something different. We're going to call it, when we say modifies, what we really mean is describes. An adjective that describes. That's what an adjective does. An adjective, when it says it modifies means it changes the meaning of that sentence. That's what modifies means. It changes the meaning of that sentence. And it does. It tells me about the lasagna. So the lasagna could be modified that the lasagna smells rotten, right? But that modifies the lasagna. It modifies the subject. How does it modify it? How does it change the lasagna? It's just not something in my mind. It's something that smells delicious, right? In my mind as well. It modified, it updated the lasagna. Told me more about it. Described the lasagna, right? Now here, what we didn't do is we did not put our little divider line there, right? We underlined the, what did it say right here? Oh, it didn't tell us to do anything. Oh, circle the predicate adjective in each sentence. So that's what we did. But we highlighted in green the complete subject, and we underlined what they are calling the linking verb, because it's linking the lasagna to delicious. Now, I remember when I was a kid how that was really confusing to me. How they called these verbs here linking verbs, and then they also said that smells or feels or becomes are linking verbs. So now all of a sudden we have this whole list of linking verbs when it really used to be is, am, are, were, been. Those were the linking verbs, right? Now all of a sudden smells is a linking verb. Well, by extension, linking verbs link something in the beginning of the sentence to the end of the sentence, and smells does do that. All right? So it does link the subject to some other part of the sentence, something else in the subject, the predicate. But in this case, it's the predicate adjective. Okay. Now, what we were doing is we were talking about the subject tells us what the verb should be, how to spell the verb. But we decide when it happened, right? Billy went to the store. Billy is going to the store, right? So he's going right now. It's present tense. Billy went to the store. That was in the past. Billy is going to the store tomorrow. That's the future. Billy is going to the store. That's the present. Billy is going to the store tomorrow. That's the future. Same verb. Is going to the store. Present. Is going to the store tomorrow. Future. Right? So we begin to see that the English language, of course, can be very confusing. We know it's the hardest language to learn. It's likely the reason why we make everybody else on the planet learn our language. I don't know why. I don't know why. Who knows? Let's blow this up a little bit, shall we? Okay. So now we've got choices there, right? So now we're talking about present simple tense. So present simple tense is it's occurring right now, and we don't have any irregular verbs. So we just, and if you remember, let's take a look at that. We need to have subject-verb agreement in whenever it's called conjugation. So whenever we are talking and we're speaking grammatically correct, we need to have agreement between our subject and our verb. So if we want to talk about the present tense, we need to have agreement in our subject and our verb. If we want to talk past tense, we need to have agreement between our subject and our verb. If we want to talk future tense, we need to have agreement between our subject and our verb. And so right now we're talking about present tense only. So let's take a look at the rules for subject-verb agreement in the present tense. All right, that's what we're looking for. So when we're talking about something that's happening right now, we want to have subject-verb agreement in the present tense. Now, we talked about this the last time, not yesterday, but on day 58, if you recall. We looked up when we talked about it last, and that was on day 50. Was it? No. Day 57. We talked about it on day 57, right? So we had things like I can't believe that was the last time that we talked about it, though. No, we talked about... Yeah, but not what I'm talking about right now. On day 60 as well. Day 57 and day 60. Okay, so let's make sure we have whatever our subject is. Now, our subject is determined by the event, right? What happened? Was it one girl or was it two girls that ran, right? Here, it was one girl, all right? So how do we know if the subject is singular, only one, or plural, more than one? How do we know that? Well, because what happened? Was it one girl or was it two or more girls, right? Girl or girls? What happened? Was it a group of people, right? Was it, one frog or four frogs that jumped? You know. I don't know. You're telling the story. No, you're not. I'm telling the story. I wrote these sentences. A girl, which is singular, there's only one girl, runs. So when a verb is singular, most often, when the subject is singular, girl, the verb most often will end in an S, right? So girl, a girl runs. The frog, there's one frog, so the verb jump ends in an S. The frog jumps. A dog barks. There's one dog, so the verb bark ends with an S. Barks. The boy laughs. There's one boy, so the verb laugh ends with an S. The squirrel eats. There's one squirrel, and so the verb eat ends with an S. Okay? Verbs with plural subjects drop the S. So when the subject happened and there's more than one person, place, or thing, or the pronoun shows that there's more than one, like they, right? Then our verb has no S. All right? Our verb has no S. So, isn't that interesting, right? Plural subjects, singular verb. Singular subject, plural verbs. It's not really a plural verb, right? But it looks like it because there's an S on the end. So, girls, more than one girl. Girls run. The plural verb would drop the S. They is a pronoun for more than one person. There's a group of people. They escape. Jeff and Alex test the phone. Jeff and Alex are two people. So the subject is Jeff and Alex. That's the subject. It's not just that Jeff tested the phone. It was that Jeff and Alex, they test the phone. That's happening right now. They tested, that would be in the past. Jeff and Alex test the phone. The verb test has no S on the end. Friends laugh. Friends, there are more than one friend. There is more than one friend. So friends has an S on it, but the verb laugh does not. Birds sing. Birds has an S on it. So there's more than one bird. Birds sing. The verb sing has no S. Why? Because birds is plural. More than one bird. If you need help with your singulars and your plurals, we've had that in a past lesson too, which was probably on lesson number 54? Yeah, lesson number 54, where we had plurals. Let's see here. There we go. So go back to classroom day number 54 if you're not sure about forming plurals. And also you can let me know in the comments below. Unfortunately, I do not have my email working for me. So that's, unfortunate. So, yeah. Need some help keeping this business going, folks. And it's not, But I will keep it going. I will keep it going for you because there's such a need for it. There's a need for a new hairdo over here. Okay, so now, based on those two rules, we want to take a look at, do we have a singular subject or do we have a plural subject? Let's take a look. Okay. So, number one, I. Is I singular or is I plural? I is singular, isn't it? So we already know then, if our subject is singular, our verb has an S on it, as if it's plural, right? So what do we want to do? We want to circle. And if I were you, I would also write in the word where it belongs. So, You know what we didn't do? I know what we didn't do. We didn't look at something else over here. I'm like, I reads. That's not right. It's singular, but that is irregular. That doesn't follow the rule, does it? Singular, you're supposed to add an S, but that does not follow the rule. Why did I take off my glasses? I don't know. It's for dramatic effect. Hold on while I put them back on. That I doesn't make sense. That I does not follow the rule. You would think I would have looked that up ahead of time. So, not there. That's our reading room book that we're looking at. So, let me see here if I've got the right rule here, because I was using, remember what I told you, I don't remember all the rules, right? I don't remember all the rules. I had to use our book, our Southwestern Encyclopedia, in order for me to be able to help prepare this lesson to teach you in an organized way. And so I forgot this part of it. First person, I is singular, we is plural. Second person, you is singular, you is plural. And then third person, he, she, or it is singular, they is plural. So there are your pronouns, but your pronouns, you go and do this. So that's our second person, he, she, or it. So second person and third person is talking about somebody other than ourselves, obviously. Second person is, I don't know why you is different than he, she, or it. I'm not quite sure how that's different. Verbs with singular subject pronouns also usually end in S. She runs. It jumps. It barks. He laughs. Everyone eats. But all of those are third person. That's what I actually didn't put down there. All of those are third person. He, she, it, they. All of those are third person. It is third person. He is third person. Everyone is third person. Verbs with plural subject pronouns also drop the S. Things disappear. They escape. All laugh. So those are all third person is what those are. And what we don't say is what happens with I and you. I and you, first person and second person, you drop the S. Third person, you keep the S. You know what? I didn't realize that rule was incomplete until just right now. So I need to get a new chalkboard up there, which I will do, and that new chalkboard will say third person, you drop the F. Third person singular, you add the S. Third person plural, you drop the S. First and second person, you drop the S. So the only time that you add an S is in third person singular. Let's check that rule out. Now, we're going to stop here for just a minute. You know what we're doing? We are going from Oh, I thought for sure I was going to have that here. I went right to the right day. I went right to the right day, and it's not here. Just give me a sec. I'll find it. Maybe. Oh, Annette, just add it for Pete's sake. Yeah, maybe I will. It just still takes a minute for me to find it, too. No matter when I'm adding it. This isn't the one I like, though. I know it's not. Yeah, it's not. But that's okay. Here's our scientific method. So we remember what we've been doing. We've been making observations and we've been asking questions. We do some background research to make sure that we've done research, remember, on the leaves. So we did background research on looking up the different kinds of leaves for our science. Then we construct a hypothesis, right? And then, which a hypothesis is just asking now a formal question. Right now, the formal question that we're asking is when do we use an S on the end of our verb when our subject is a pronoun? So what I said is we don't add an S in first or second person. So what we're going to do is we're going to test that. We've asked a question. My hypothesis is that we don't add an S to the verb when we are talking in first or second person. Okay? So, first or second person, I, you, we, you meaning a you group of people, so plural, second. I'm saying that we don't add an S to the verb. Let's check it out. That's my hypothesis, and now we're going to test it. We're going to test it by looking at every one of these. I say that when we're in first or second person, singular or plural, we have no S. I blank a book every day. I read or reads a book every day. I read a book every day. Let's go ahead and, like I said, let's go ahead and type that in as well. Well, I'm going to type it in, but I would like it if you wrote it in. I read a book every day. What a great idea. What a great idea. Some part of a book every day, right? We always blank up early in the morning. We always get up early in the morning, or we always gets up early in the morning. Well, let's look at the rule over here. The rule here is that when the subject, it's a first person plural subject, we drop the S. So we always, and the honest truth of that is that I'm doing this by sound, not by rule. I'm going to repeat that for you, all right? I'm doing this by sound, not by rule. I don't know that rule. You can see I didn't have it memorized, that rule, because that's why I keep going back to the rule. I'm doing it by how it sounds. Do you know if it sounds right or not? Do you know if that sounds right or not? If you're not sure if it sounds right, then you go back to the rule. But otherwise, we use reading books and listening to others, especially teachers who should be, talking grammatically correct, right? So let's go and take a look at, we're going to go back to the rules and we're going to see if it matches the rules. But the important thing here is, do you know if it sounds correct? Do you know which one is right because it sounds right? Let's do that and see. And we'll go back to the rules and we'll check it out, right? Because that's what we do when we are doing the scientific method. We are testing this and then we go back to the rule to make sure that it's right. Procedure, is a procedure working? Yes or no? Well, I go back to the rule. Is my procedure of guessing because it sounds right, is that working? Yes or no? And if it's not working, then we troubleshoot and we go back to the rule. Okay? All right? Did you get that? I hope so. Let's put it into practice what we're talking about. So there's our rules. We is first person plural. So we're going to the plural rule, and the plural rule says verbs with the plural subject pronouns drop the S. So we always get up early in the morning. That follows the rule. They sounds plural to me, right? They sounds plural to me, but let's look at our rules. Or let's look at, first of all, we're going to look at the first person, second person. So this is third person plural. Third person plural. If it's plural, it says it should drop the S. Let's see if it follows the rule. Let's also write our words in. We do really want to write our words in. We want to practice our penmanship. I'm practicing my typing because I can't practice my penmanship really here. So we always get up early in the morning. They, according to the rule, I should have no S. They speak English very well. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound right to you? They speak English very well. Or is it they speaks English very well? No, according to the rule, it's they speak, and that also sounds right to me. So there's no irregular verbs. And there shouldn't be. None of these, they should all follow the rule because it's present simple tense that we're looking at. Fill in the blank with the correct verb in the brackets. We're circling it too. She is third person singular. Third person singular. She, then that should have the S. She plays or play tennis. She plays tennis, right? So that one follows the rule as well. It looks like we might be on track with the pronoun rules. It might have been just screwed up in my head. She plays tennis on Saturdays. Jim is a third person singular. So that should have the S on it. Jim wants to be a teacher. Jim wants to be a teacher. So that follows the rule. Jim is singular third person. Jim wants. My mother and I often visit or visits grandma. Well, that's plural, so we should drop the S, and that does follow the rule. So my mother and I often visit my grandmother. My sister drink milk every day, or my sister drinks milk every day. That's third person singular, so that should have the S. Does it? My sister drinks. Yes, my sister drinks milk every day. You is second person. You usually ride a bike. You second person, that sounds like singular. You usually ride or rides a bike. You usually second person singular. You usually ride a bike. Second person singular is like second person plural. You drop the S. You usually ride a bike. It doesn't matter if it's you singular or you plural. We drop the S. Like you, second person, is plural. Like second person is plural. Second person you, singular. Second person you, plural. The rule is, there we go. We didn't have a rule for second person. That's what we didn't have. A rule for second person. You usually ride a bike. How did that end up not having the T there? Okay. So I'm not writing the word in because I'm typing it anyway. But you should be doing that. He is third person singular, which means that we should have an S. He goes. He goes. This go, you can see there, is irregular. Because goes, if I just added an S to go, it would be G-O-S. But it's not. It's G-O-E-S, which means that go is an irregular verb. He goes to the library twice a week. Let's see here. Oops, not that way. We have a list here of irregular verbs. All right, so let's take a close look at those irregular verbs. And here is page 1, and you can see go in the present tense is go. Go in the past tense is went. Go with the past participle is gone. So we're going to talk a little bit about participles, but here we've got it in present tense, goes, present plural tense. No, present singular tense. Go would be we go. That would be present plural tense. Go, we go. But when it's singular, it's he, she, it goes. So do you see there where go in the third column, number 3, is an irregular verb, but go is in the plural, goes is the singular. All right? Now, again, you're like, oh my gosh, Dr. Feravich, how could I possibly remember all of this that you're teaching me? We don't remember the rules. We don't remember all of these rules. What we do is we look to the rule when we aren't sure. And actually what we do is we don't even look to the rule. What do? We usually go right to the dictionary is what we do, and we look for the right word in the dictionary. The dictionary will tell us when we're unsure. But when we're in early bird classroom and we're learning English, this is what we learn. We learn our grammar. So we learn the rules, but let me tell you, we don't remember those rules. We don't remember those rules. But you need to, even if you don't remember the rules, what you need to do is get these answers right. So whether or not you know the rule or understand the rule, maybe you're just a real great reader, and so you know how this is supposed to sound. All right? Early birds, you don't need to confuse yourself with the rule unless it doesn't sound right, unless you're getting all of these wrong. Okay? All right. We have answer sheets, but I'm not going to show you the answer sheets right now. I will show you them coming up as we get through all of these. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. It's 9 o'clock. We are way past due. We're supposed to be 9:15 in our Bookless classroom, and we have a lot to learn in our Bookless classroom. So I'm going to try and get here on time at 9:15, but I did not realize that we had gone this far over our time. So, but that's okay because, I was, kind of dancing around to begin with, right? So thanks for joining me here in the classroom, early birds. I hope that, I hope we're going to get to the Underground Railroad. I hope that I didn't dizzy your minds with all of that information on our grammar. But you know what? Sometimes we go slow and sometimes we pick up the pace, and it's a little bit of work. Today was a little bit of work, but I will see you on Tuesday with a reward, a book by, I think it's by Stein. Yep, R. Conrad Stein, The Underground Railroad, on Tuesday. Thanks for joining me here on a beautiful morning in Michigan.